Minutes later, more men appear on camera in what seems to be heavily edited segments of taped confessions. This man says he broke into an army base and stole Kalashnikovs. An official from the Popular Committees for General Security says all weapons stolen must be returned.
We are calling on anyone who took weapons must return them to the popular social committees in their areas. No legal action will be taken against those who return the weapons and regret taking them.
Pictures like this serve to demonstrate the standoff that's now holding in Libya. The people of the uprising say victory will be theirs. This is the town of Misrata in western Libya, which has reportedly fallen to the opposition. If these pictures are accurate, then they would seem to bear that out, but the country remains split. The international media is now beginning to find its way into Libya. These pictures show pro-democracy supporters celebrating their control of the city of Benghazi, but interpreting the direction events are heading in remains as difficult for people in the country as it does for the outside world. This video purports to show the aftermath of fighting on the streets of Tripoli between pro and anti-Gaddafi forces. It's been widely reported from the capital in Benghazi that gangs of yellow-hatted militia have been given free rein to move house to house in the hunt for the opposition. Gaddafi's tactics have enraged even those who know him well.
He's using mercenaries, not because he wants to use them, because he cannot use the army. He cannot use the armed forces of Libya because they are Libyans and they are faithful and honest people. They will not kill themselves, because killing their cousins and uncles and friends, it means that they are killing themselves. So he doesn't trust them. He doesn't trust even his own guard.
Video emerges all the time demonstrating chaos and the danger which protesters often run headlong into. Here, for instance, there seem to be snipers on the roof of the building opposite. A small crack and a man goes down, shot in the groin. The latest rumour, again unverifiable unless it happens, is that Gaddafi has threatened to blow up his oil pipelines, which would bring havoc to a country already beset by poverty and would have ramifications on oil prices across the world. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera.
Well, joining me now from Washington, D.C. is Hafid Al-Gaway. He's a Libyan analyst who's been a prominent figure opposing Gaddafi. Thanks for joining us from D.C. The international community certainly seems to be saying the right things, yet there's no tangible action certainly for the moment. How do you see the roadmap ahead?
You're absolutely right. I mean, so far we've been hearing statements and declarations, including that of President Obama earlier today. He spoke about a number of meetings and consultations, and the real question is what's going to result out of this process. While this process is going on and we're waiting for this trips that he is talking about for Secretary Clinton and others next Monday, people are dying every day and they're being slaughtered on international television. I mean, the whole world is witnessing this tragedy unfolding. It's very unclear at the moment what will be the road ahead, but I could assure you that if the international community does not really take any action and strong action very quickly, this thing can become chaotic.
Well, the situation within Libya seems to be also happening very, very quickly. Things are developing, and even though it's very difficult to get information out of the country, you know, we are getting news that Misrata has been taken over now by pro-democracy protesters. If that is correct, what are we supposed to read into the way people are reacting in Libya in terms of how they're being able to take over principal towns and areas?
Well, what we are witnessing, and I could confirm for you here, that is basically Gaddafi has lost control all over the country. The only thing that he has left is Tripoli, where he has his heaviest sort of presence of his secret service and police and the Revolutionary Guards and so on. And that's why people are still hesitant in Tripoli. They are trying in different neighborhoods, but they have not really created the momentum that you've seen in Benghazi and elsewhere, because they are being attacked as they form these demonstrations. The question now is whether these outlying towns outside of Tripoli will be able to help the capital city move forward. And bring at least an end to this phase of the uprising, and that is really to bring down the entire system completely.
Well, if the Gaddafi family, if the Gaddafi family then does have control of Tripoli, then what do you make of the statement by Gaddafi's son, Saif al-Islam, trying to rally the people in this great battle? Who's he appealing to, and will they actually act on it?
Well, no, nobody will act on it. I mean, I could assure you. You saw the same appeal yesterday from Gaddafi himself, asking for tens of thousands to come out in the streets and basically saying that these protesters are a minority. And today you have a complete dead, almost calm all over Tripoli, and the rest of the country is actually moving in the exact opposite direction to what he was trying to rally them around. These are just basically hyperbole and statements to try to show among their own, at least tribes and their own revolutionary guards, that they're still around and still have faith and they still are resisting. But this is really meaningless. I mean, how do you really control a country after 90% of its territory is no longer in your hands?
Well, we shall see what does happen and how he does or does not control the country. For the moment, Hafid El-Gouei, thanks for joining us from Washington, D.C. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, as Muammar Gaddafi battles to keep control in the Libyan capital, the US president has weighed in on the violence there. Let's go to Shihab in Washington for more on that.
Thanks, Sahel. Yes, Barack Obama making his first public comments on the crackdown in Libya on Wednesday. He called it outrageous and unacceptable. The US president insists all options are on the table to hold the Libyan government accountable for its actions, and he will also dispatch as Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to Geneva, as we just heard, for international talks, but not until next week. From Washington, Patty Culhane reports.
The world has been watching the images snuck out of Libya, blood in the streets, cries of pain and terror, the stories of overwhelming force and absolute carnage. After more than a week of relative silence, U.S. President Barack Obama voiced his concerns late Wednesday.
The suffering and bloodshed is outrageous, and it is unacceptable. So are threats and orders to shoot peaceful protesters and further punish the people of Libya. These actions violate international norms and every standard of common decency. This violence must stop.
U.S. presidents don't usually make such clear demands for fear that if they are ignored, they would have to act. So what is this president prepared to do?
I've also asked my administration to prepare the full range of options that we have to respond to this crisis. This includes those actions we may take and those we will coordinate with our allies and partners.
So far, he isn't giving much detail, but Obama is sending his Secretary of State to meet with allies at the Human Rights Council in Geneva next week.
While people are dying, the world's greatest power is preparing.
Still, the director of Human